Hey guys, it's been a long time since my last YouTube video. Things have been super busy, but today we're going to be talking about the Fuji XF 33mm 1.4 and the classic 35mm 1.4. So the 33 I've mounted on the XT4, and the 35 I've mounted on the X Pro 3. Honestly, it really feels like that's where these lenses belong. The 35mm lens is just such a perfect fit on this X Pro 3, and I found myself often grabbing this over this setup because it's a lot more compact. It's a lot lighter, and if I'm just going out to take pictures, this is a great setup. I was also surprised to find that the images that were coming from the older 35mm lens compared to this 33mm lens, the image quality was pretty comparable. Now I know if you put this thing on a higher resolution sensor, then you're probably gonna get more contrast and detail out of it. But even when like zooming in to the pictures I was taking from each photo, it just looked pretty similar, especially in the center of the frame. Now, towards the edges and the corners of the picture frame, that's where you'll start to see the 33mm pull ahead. But I can't stress it enough, I definitely was really liking the size and kind of overall aesthetic of this combo right here. Now, if you're taking into consideration things like flare resistance and chromatic aberrations, I'd probably definitely go with the newer 33mm. That just does a way better job at controlling the flare. And that being said, if you are kind of looking for that more unique flare when you are shooting into the sun, you might want to go with the older lens. While I did keep the 33mm on the XT4 for most of the time I had it, I did pop this thing on the X Pro 3, and I noticed that, after using the 35mm on the X Pro 3 for a while, it did seem like the 33mm focused faster. Overall, the focus acquisition was a lot quicker, and it just seemed a lot smoother. It's also a lot quieter on the 33mm. So it just felt kind of natural putting it back onto the XT4, especially for using it for any video purposes. You have the quiet autofocus, the really quick and smooth autofocus. So I can show you what the 33mm looks like on the X Pro 3. So this is the 35mm. Again, I think that looks really great on this camera. And this is the 33mm on the camera. So, I mean, you can see it gets substantially bigger with this lens on it. I did try to use the 35mm for some video, but the whole kind of experience on a 33mm is a lot more enjoyable, so I didn't do too much with that. If you are choosing between the 35 and the 33mm, one thing to take into consideration is how the lenses render the image in terms of how warm the image is. If you go with a 33mm lens, the images are going to be a lot warmer than on the 35mm lens, and that's that's sort of up to your personal preference. But do keep that in mind if you shoot a lot of JPEGs, because you don't want to deal with post-editing, or if you just want quick turnaround for clients. Another thing I did enjoy about the 35mm is that the minimum focusing distance is closer than on the newer 33mm, and but it's kind of a trade-off, because the image quality when you are shooting close up to your subject with the older 35 is it's not that great. It's kind of soft when you shoot that close up. While on the 33 millimeter, if you are shooting as close as you can to your subject with this lens, the image is still tack sharp. So kind of depends on your style. So to summarize everything, it's pretty easy to pick between these two lenses, especially if you're considering video. If you're considering video as a need, then just go with the 33 millimeter. But I would say if you're looking for a lens that is great for photography, that can fit on your X Pro series camera, I would probably myself just go with the 35 millimeter, because the image quality is still great. You do get that closer minimum focusing distance, and the autofocus was good enough. But if you're looking for something that's more future-proof for some of the higher resolution sensors that Fuji's coming out with, like the XH2 camera, then I think that the 33 millimeter would be the way to go. That's going to give you the best image quality. You'll lose some of the uniqueness with the flare that you get in your pictures, but overall, like, I actually thought, I was anticipating the 35 millimeter to render a lot differently than the 33 millimeter, but they were pretty similar in my opinion. I hope that helped you guys make a decision, and I'll see you in the next video.